When did you last feel so unsure about what you might be about to see at Old Trafford? It's not often at this club that the going gets this tough. For Manchester United, this might be the night to get going. The faith of Old Trafford's congregation has been tested over the last month or two, but the pews are always full here. There is no shortage of believers. David Beckham has to take his seat alongside 60,000 others. In 15 years of treading that touchline, the Manchester United manager has rarely been as intensely or as critically scrutinised as now. What will be the mood of the walk back just after 9:30? Not Porto, not Sporting Lisbon, not Benfica. This is the strongly bonded bunch that broke a 55-year-old triopoly to win the Portuguese league. This is the team whose modern monopoly on the English league suddenly seems vulnerable. It is a good noise, it is a good reception. These are the times when supporters must support. United won't be taken in by the mandatory handshake or the chessboard shirt. Boavista are no polite sophisticates. There is talent, but muscle and bustle were the key components in their first ever national title win. Liverpool found them physically hard and they love to wreck a reputation. Centre-half remains the issue for Manchester United. In that position, they are without Johnson, May and now Brown. So it's Gary Neville's turn to partner Laurent Blanc. Phil Neville comes in at right back. Roy Keane is back on the territory he knows best. Fitness problems too with Beckham, Giggs and Cole. So it's Dwight York's first Champions League start of the year. Nicky Butt's first game for a month. And the shape will be interesting. A settled side, this is not. For Boavista, 5 Brazilians, 5 Portuguese and a Bolivian. Only 4 full internationals, of whom Petit in midfield is one. He was suspended against Nantes but returns. Jorge Silva has had a long-term knee injury and starts in the Champions League for the first time this season. Of greater note though, the splendidly mobile Duda and the awesomely muscular Silva, who had a very late test, are fit to start up front. David Beckham's minor back problem doesn't prevent him from being available if required. Youthful defensive cover for United too, provided by John O'Shea and Ronnie Walworth. Antonio Lopez Nieto arrives from Malaga to take charge. He ought to know that Boavista committed more fouls than any other side in the first phase. And Manchester United, incidentally, were awarded the fewest free kicks. So Ron, what about your main men tonight?
Certainly they need a captain fantastic performance from Roy Keane. He's got to be strong in the middle of the park, win tackles, be disciplined because he'll come in for some aggravation, and he's got to give a little bit of help to those 2 central defenders who will need plenty of help because this fella Silva is lively, he's sharp, he's strong, he can go it alone, he's going to be a threat.
Well, despite everything, Manchester United began this week as bookies' second favourites for the Champions League. They do have that terrific point from Munich in the bag. And whilst the prospect of defeat tonight is pretty horrific for them, a victory would have them in excellent shape to make a 6th successive appearance in the Champions League quarter-finals. Forward from Gary Neville. Pounded down by Alexander Goulart. Philip Neville has the throw. After challenge by Erevan on Veron. by the captain Pedro Emmanuel.
I think what we're going to find with them, certainly Boavista, they're going to play 2 man-for-man markers and a spare man who's just going to be involved now, Turner. I think they're going to go very, very close against Van Nistelrooy and Dwight Yorke. Just wondering as well, the talk earlier on was about United playing with 4 basically central midfield players. How much responsibility Alex has given to the wide men, the fullbacks, to push on and try and make as much width and get up the field as far as they can.
Silvestre winning the header above Duda. That'll be an important confrontation. George Silva forward, out by Philip Neville. It's a long chase for Dwight Yorke. And Pedro Emmanuel has hooked it clear. Gary Neville away from Alexander Gola. There's number 30, one of 3 Brazilians up front. He has 1 goal in the Champions League to date. In defeat in Dortmund, it was an absolute screamer.
Dare I mention it, their playing system, you know, Boavista's, is not too dissimilar to Bolton's, where when they lose possession, they'll all fall back in and fill in holes in midfield, just leaving Silva up the field on his own. And Bolton did fairly well here, didn't they?
Despite an early goal from a free kick by Juan Sebastian Veron, who presumably will be over the set pieces tonight. For Silva. Here steps Scholes. Taken away from him by Petit. For all the gloomy talk, it's worth remembering that in Europe, Manchester United's last 3 results have been perfectly palatable. The 3-0 win against Olympiacos that carried them through from the first phase, a draw in France in a game of less immediate consequence, and then that excellent point in Munich. Followed by Gary Neville. Turret is staying with Dwight Yorke. And is penalised for staying too close to him. An important night for him. He's played 20 Champions League minutes this season, 15 of those in Lille, the last 5 in the Olympic Stadium, Munich.
What he can do for them, Dwight Yorke, of course, is he has the ability to go wide. He can also make up the width. You don't really look to see Van Nistelrooy going wide, but Yorke certainly can make the space and the wide areas. Key. But I think it's here. Where Silvestre always lost good possession there, Scalzi. But I think Silvestre's got to carry the fight when it's on the ball side.
Scholes won it back, but over vigorously. There is the natural target for any and every set piece. There's extraordinary spring for a relatively bulky man, Silva. And neat feet, and a decent drive, which Barthez fielded a mite uncertainly.
Yeah, didn't need too much inviting there though, did he, Silva? Turned his man, was looking straight away for goals.
Scholes slipping it in for Keane. And Keane slipping away from Pedro Emmanuel and being balked as he went by Nuno Freixo. Silvestre. And still Silvestre's run a corner with a run not dissimilar to that which brought about the goal in Munich a fortnight back.
That's excellent though, that's carrying the fight, and I think he's got to try and do that most of the evening.
Laurent Blanc has got 4. Veron's delivery. Ricardo came for it and made no contact. You were saying before the game, not in conversation, that Veron has played wide right in the past for Lazio.
Yeah, when he was at Lazio, very often well, certainly I've seen him operate on the left-hand side of a 4, of a narrow, if you like, of of a forward out of natural wide play. But he is a footballer, he can play. He's one of those you just say, there's a football field, give him the ball and let him play in it.
Up by Blanc, taken up by York. Out off Fresher, Key. Scholes. Verron. Scholes. Erivan steps out with it. Petit. Silva. Decent ball for Duda, who is onside here. It's Duda! And Bartes with an unorthodox league parries. This guy's quick though.
Yeah, super ball inside the defender. You wonder whether he's offside. Don't think he was. He's travelled in, and once again, very, very positive. Silva might have looked for him to face it across the goal, but nothing else in mind. He was going to try and burst the back of the net. Keeper's done well there, Bartes.
Duda rested at the weekend for the league game to achieve the freshness he showed there. It's Owen Sanchez, the Bolivian, with the corner. Away by Key to Petit. Decent drive. And a fairly decent save too by Bartes.
I tell you what, we've been playing 7 minutes. That's already 3 of them have tried the luck with quite fierce shots, and that's the best one of the lots at the moment. That's a good shot. Bartes had to be on his toes for that one. Fortunately, he didn't drop inside the 6-yard box, the rebound.
Petit is one of those to have profited from Boavista's extraordinary growth as a club.
I think not only that, I think they sense it's as good a time as they will have ever had in their life to come to Old Trafford.
Sanchez again. Out by Verron. Erivan. Charged down by Scholes. Owen Sanchez. Aimed in towards Silva. The threat is immediately evident.
I tell you what, there's a strength and a purpose about them, isn't it? Very often teams come here and knock the ball about and look nice early on, but these have come at it with a load of thrust.
Well, the coach made the point. They are thrilled simply to be at Old Trafford. It's arguable that for many of the players this is the biggest single club game of their lives.
And we also sense they're not fazed by it at all, Peter.
Fresho took it away from Butt. Silva.
That's good tracking from Roy Keane. Each pulser, is he hurt? I think in the last match was it Deportivo, he looked injured early on and it was a bit worrying, limping out of the challenge there.
Verron held up by Alexander Gola.
Still limping. I think that must be a concern for Alex. That.
Gary Neville. Van Nistelrooy. York. Verron. Hasn't scored for Manchester United in Europe yet, Juan Seba Verron.
Yeah, nice build-up. Doesn't really, the only problem the keeper might have had if he didn't see it late, but tries to pass it into the net.
Van, the Brazilian left back, with the throw. Boavista's player of the year last year in their title season. Blanc. Van Nistelrooy. By Pedro Emmanuel. Key. Cleverly away from Paulo Turra. And then only denied access to the danger zone by an excellent sliding tackle from Erivan.
Yeah, that's encouraging. I was having a look at him just before that incident. He looked to be hampered, he looked to be limping a little bit, still feeling the back of his leg. But certainly that surge was Roy Keane at his best.
Good game this. Verron's corner. Nicked off Blanc's head by Silva. Van Nistelrooy. In the corner of Paulo Turra. Decent watch this, Rob.
Yeah, lots of life about the game. You know, obviously United, maybe the confidence isn't quite right, but they're certainly going at the game as well. And from a game point of view, so are Boavista.
Veron's corner. And scores!
That deserved a goal. Watch the United players. The United players have run everybody. This isn't by accident, that's design. That's a spotter's badge there from Veron. Super strike on the volley. Very unfortunate deflection's gone over the bar.
Wasn't it Valley Parade Bradford where he achieved that from a Beckham corner?
Yeah, they ran them all under the ball, the United players, all the big players.
Veron's corner. And Laurent Blanc getting up highest.
Good leap that, didn't really have a run, it was hampered on his run there. Just can't quite get over the ball.
By Philip Neville. Well taken by York, but not so neatly distributed.
I'll tell you something else as well. I hope the referee continues to referee in this vein. He's let a lot of legitimate but strong challenges go, and that's what's keeping the game flowing at the moment.
He's actually last on this ground for Bayern Munich's quarter-final win here in April. Paulo Sergio's late goal, which was echoed a fortnight back. Foul on Veron. Alexander Golat, who's playing a little deeper, I think, than when I saw him twice against Liverpool.
I think what they're prepared to do, Peter, is as soon as they lose possession, they'll fall back, they'll work the socks off to get behind the ball.
Veron. There'll be an inquiry and the goalkeeper will lead it. Whilst others planned, Veron got on with it.
Yeah, quick thinking. It's a pity that wasn't just a yard inside the post, because the bounce might have deceived the keeper. The keeper's done well to get back over there after trying to line his wall up. The bounce might just have nicked him if it had been on target.
Duda. Thumped out by Silvestre. And met by Paulo Turra. Van up the line. Silva.
Early impressions, Peter, is that Alex has said before the game, we're in a hole. Everybody's having a pop at us. Let's just get out there, roll our sleeves up and get wide in.
He doesn't have a problem. But you're right, he has them well knocked, doesn't he?
I think that's been the message. Let's get after them. All right, if we make mistakes, forget it. Let's rectify it and get round the ball quickly. Because that's one thing the Portuguese team are going to do.
Fresher. Squeezed it out for Silva. And the flag is up. And enough, Boavista are having a struggle or two at home at the moment. They failed to win either match since defeating Nantes on their last Champions League outing. They were beaten by Sporting Lisbon in a very physical game and only drew with struggling Salgueiros this weekend.
What's probably happened as well in their own domestic league now, of course, is because they're champions, they're there to be shot at. You know, every team they play now, whereas last year they may have prepped him a little bit unfancied, this year they are the people to beat.
Alexander Golat. Silva's error. Of course, this is a group of 4 national champions, and none of them, as it happens, are leading their leagues right now. We know about Manchester United's problems. Boavista are 4 points behind Porto. Bayern Munich a couple off the pace in Germany, and Nantes are actually in a relegation battle. Van Nistelrooy. York. Tackled by Petit.
I just wonder whether the tackle by Fresher on the edge of the box might have been a free kick for United.
Laurent Blanc. York. Nice Sanchez for Alexander Goulart, who went over Roy Keane, and Keane is booked.
That's for dissent. A little bit slow off the mark there, Roy Keane. He was hesitant. The ball was there to be won, but I think he hesitated in the first place. There, I thought he would have got there, but he started off late, was on the back foot, and really ref's got no alternative. But I just wonder whether it was his action afterwards that's got him booked.
He has led the club so well over the last week, hasn't he, Roy Keane? He's the guy who's stuck his head above the parapet, has said what has needed to be said, has supported the manager, has chastised the players. Fresher. Georges Silva. Up by Silvestre. Two sweet touches from Veron. And then Buck dispossessed. Here's Erivan. Determinedly won by Scholes. Ricardo will get there before York.
Decent goalkeeping there. He was on his toes there, Ricardo. I just thought the Scholes' ball, if been a little bit more angle, would have really favoured Dwight York.
Problem in the centre circle for Alexander Goulart there. It was he who went over Roy Keane. Whether it's a direct result of that, I'm not sure. Silvestre, Van Nistelrooy, Veron. Skippers across.
There's a nice space in this left-back area for United to hit, though. Erivan, the Brazilian left-back, pushes up a lot, leaves space in there. United trying to hit him either with straight balls or once or twice diagonal balls from Silvestre.
Neville's ball in. Played by Ricardo, Portugal's #1 custodian now. France's #1 goalkeeper. Petit. Keane. Smart looking ball for Butt, who collided with Nuno Fresho, with whom the referee shows no sympathy. Silvestre, that looked like a handball, and it was. He was the one highlighted for his part in the series of individual errors, with the touch that put in Paulo Sergio in Munich, but it oughtn't to be forgotten that he made Van Nistelrooy's goal.
You know, I've looked at that goal a few times, the one against him. I thought he took a lot of unnecessary flack there, you know. I thought it was just a touch off balance when the ball got threaded in there. Phil Neville.
The one was sold short. Alexander Goulart. Silva. Duda. And Silva. Won't read it well. Van Nistelrooy. Time to turn. Keane steaming outside of him. Van Nistelrooy's kept on going. It's Dwight York for Manchester United.
I needed a running ball though.
And Veron!
Good effort from Veron. Good support, good strike. But if Van Nistelrooy had pushed his pass a little bit firmer, he could have got Yorkie here on a running ball. Yorkie didn't really want to have to check his run there. Good setting up, good firm, solid strike. No real threat to the keeper. But United are hitting the front players early today. Because they haven't got wingers, they're not going wide too early. They're trying to get it into the front players, miss out Boavista's midfield players, and then try and push up and support the ball. I think they've said to themselves, we don't mind if it's not a pretty game, let's make it an energetic game. And it's amazing, you know, when people work and compete and contest, all of a sudden the little bitty things, the nice football comes into action. And that could well happen for United if you keep playing at this tempo and with this energy.
Jorge Silva, Owen Sanchez, Erivan. Sanchez. Petit. Alexander Gola, Sanchez. Manchester United kept their shape well. Vera. Silvestre. York. And here comes Roy Keane. Another good tackle by Erivan.
Great football from United though. Great overlapping run there from Silvestre. Picked his pass. York measured his pass in. I thought he was going to hit this first time. He clever disguise, but that's good defending by Erivan. Just gets back and puts the block on. A great break by United.
They're on to the near post, at which Keane arrived.
Shape they've got as well, you know, with Keane and with Nicky Butt in central midfield, two, if you like, two minders. I think it enables Silvestre to gamble and keep bunking on. Same with Phil Neville hasn't yet come out the hole on this side, but maybe they're trying to invite Erivan onto him and leave the space for the strikers to go in on the right-hand side.
Phil Neville's clearance. Erivan was up to it. Keane went flying in, but Butt had already clashed with Petit. As much momentum as ill-intent. Erivan. Sanchez. Erivan skipped away from Veron. Couldn't get away from Keane and squeezed it out for Silva. There's a Boavista ball. Erivan. Much fade on the cross. Manchester United, of course, are attempting over the second phase to qualify for their sixth successive quarter-final in this competition. It's a run that began with their destruction of Porto here in 1997 in the last 8. Porto 4-0, and these are their first Portuguese visitors since. But historically, they've scored heavily against Portuguese opponents. Duda, Fresher, Jorge Silva, Owen Sanchez. Petit by Silvestre. Fresher across.
That's where the United flank defenders have got to adjust today. Normally when Silvestre won that game, won that ball, he'd have had Giggs just ahead of him. He could have popped the ball off too. Now he's got to hit balls into the channels and hit them longer than probably he's used to.
Silva's grounded here. His problem pre-match was with his knee, and since he was feeling his right ankle there, I don't think the two are associated.
There's that ball just talking about. They're trying to hit from back to front early and miss. Not get involved in too much midfield passing at the moment. Try and get past the Boavista midfield early. Fortunately on that one, it wasn't a bad ball, I didn't think, but Van Nistelrooy's fouled fresh on.
Team's free kick. Out by Blanc. Came to Duda. Into the Stretford end. And a chance to remind you that this Saturday, as every Saturday on ITV1, the Premiership comes your way at 10:30. Manchester United against West Ham amongst this week's featured games. This weekend, incidentally, we're back with a spare programme on Sunday as well. A few decent games then. Read all about it on our website, itv.com/football. With Manchester United's threat. Van Nistelrooy. Neville. Aimed in at York, who was grappling with Fresho. Ricardo thought about it a couple of times before coming to gather. Keane. Tura tackling York from behind. Owen Sanchez. Alexander Gola. Duda. Petit going wide of it. It's Duda's ball in. So Gary Neville dealt with eventually. And Silvestre worked it well. Or thought he had. Clearly in the Stretford end concurred with his view of it, but a corner's been awarded. Manchester United's defence so criticised as under pressure again. Petit's corner. Hello, Tura won it. Scholes, York, and by Nicky Butt.
Just watching Dwight York, you know, the fella Duda's following him all over the pitch, and I think York, he's got to try and lose him. He's a bit static, Dwight, when he's waiting to receive. I think he's got to try and take him runs up the field and check out and things like that, and mess him about a little bit, not be too static a target. That's a better run. The ball doesn't meet the run. You know, sometimes when you've got a man marker like that, and Duda looks a very efficient guy, you sometimes bring him to the ball, say when Silvestri's got him spin, so he's in two minds. He's never sure whether York's always going to be showing short for the ball.
Well, you don't often see David Beckham seated on Champions League night here.
He'll come on and score the winner.
I think that goes without saying. George Silva. Silvestre dealt with it and dealt with George Silva on the follow-through, inadvertently. And this will be a concern for the Portuguese. He is just back from a long-term injury.
Yeah, I mean, he was showing a great deal of desire. He went as if he was going to raise his foot, George Silva. And I think that Mikel Silvestre, who might be lucky not to be booked there, although he's got the free kick, I think he was in the self-preservation society there, made sure he wasn't going to get hurt.
But York, Silvestre, decent early ball. Up in the air by Paulo Tura, came to Van Nistelrooy.
Did well there, Van Nistelrooy, didn't let the defenders off, worked hard for his position, used his body strength, and a bit unlucky not to get his shot wide of the keeper.
Nice variety in Silvestre's pass as well, wasn't there? The early ball.
Yeah, it's not an easy one to deal with, that putting in full marks to Duda. He's back in there, but this is where he does ever so well there, Silvestre. Handles defenders, shoves them away.
Keane in charge of the game. It's passed behind Phil Neville, who's still got a lucky bounce off Sanchez, and Veron, and Neville, and Van Nistelrooy. They're smiling again.
A little bit fortunate here, Phil Neville. Ball falls nicely from there on in. Ball quality, ball inside, well-measured pass into his run. They might be looking for Van Nistelrooy to be offside. This is where the moment of luck, the fortune that maybe United need. That's a lovely measured pass from Veron. Face first ball, good finish.
11 goals now for Ruud Van Nistelrooy this season. He hasn't gone more than 2 successive starts without scoring a goal for the manager who invested so much money and so much faith in him.
The irony of all that, you know, it's probably the first time that Philip Neville strayed into, if you like, enemy territory. Another important thing from United's point of view is they group again, get round the ball, don't let Boavista get any sort of foothold in the game. And you know they can be very, very dangerous in this sort of situation. They've got players that can deliver, they've got players that are going there and, if you like, get the heads cut to get a goal.
Owen Sanchez with Boavista's free kick. To hold on to a lead. Manchester United haven't always done it this year. Sanchez with the delivery. He's won a corner. United have lost 4 leads this season, having scored first. It's Bolton, home and away against Deportivo, and of course against Arsenal. They've been in front and lost the game. Sanchez, Silva.
I think maybe the big difference is today, Peter, different philosophy. Normally they say we are better than the opposition. If they score, we'll score 3. If they score 3, we'll score 4. You know, the Tottenham thing, prime example. But today I get the distinct impression that that's not quite in their minds today. Today it's about digging and fighting and doing a lot of the ugly things, scrapping for possession, and all of a sudden your extra quality like that comes out. I mean, that's an excellent goal once Phil Neville managed to get his little bit of touch of fortune.
Well, for all there's no Beckham, no Giggs, slightly odd look about this side. What about you? But it feels like a Manchester United performance to me. Here's Dwight York. Extravagant.
Well, they've got a lot of scramblers in the side. All right, take Veron out, who certainly is working ever so hard. Unfortunately, he doesn't just drop light for Dwight York, but they've got a lot of scramblers in midfield. You know, and people that are on the front foot trying to get round the ball. Not too concerned about, let's be nice, let's look good. Let's do the, if you like, the horrible things well.
Got snapped in. Veron. Offers kept going. Pedro Emmanuel did the safe and sensible thing. Phil Neville's throw. Out again by the captain. Taken by Veron. Sanchez back for Pedro Emmanuel. Silva's first touch was slack. Phil Neville. Pedro Emmanuel, whose place in the history of the club is assured. He it was who skippered them to their first title. 55 years it had been since one of Porto, Sporting Lisbon or Benfica hadn't won it. They are a closely knit bunch, an upstart club. York, Silvestre. Nicely worked out for Buck. Key. Veron. He's too smart.
Thought he was a bit over elaborate there. It's always good to watch. Thought he'd done enough on his first drag back. I thought then he should have played the ball.
Well, he watched Dennis Bergkamp on the box last night.
You see, there's a saying in football, earn the right to play. And if United get their flowing game going, they will have earned the right, because they've done it the right way around. They've worked hard to get this advantage. Now what they mustn't do, of course, is give it away. What they've got to try and do is consolidate it.
Ricardo facing a free kick which isn't far off dead centre. And he's the man. Veron. Not this time. So much talk about his recent dip in form.
Yeah, but I think...
And also, Ron, I was going to go on to say about his... the effect that his arrival has had on the shape of the team.
I think there has been a problem trying to fit him in. He is an undoubted world-class player. I don't go along with this when they say about Veron doesn't tackle and doesn't do this. I mean, Alex Ferguson didn't buy Veron to tackle and do that. He bought him to be magical and make things happen. I mean, even the little bit of skill there he showed, the setting up pass for Phil Neville. That was a mark of quality.
Sanchez. Gary Neville across well with the Duda. Given away by George Silva. Silvestre. Terrific pace from Mikhail Silvestre before he crunched into George Silva.
But the lovely thing about that was when Silvestre had lost that ball, you know, there was about 4 or 5 midfield players of United all filled in the holes, the gaps he'd left. Sometimes in the past when one of the defenders breaks forward, United empty midfield a bit quick. There, I think they've said to themselves, right, whatever happens, we'll get back in and block up holes.
Free kick against Roy Keane. Nuno Fresho is still writhing off the pitch. He has a natural replacement on the bench in Rui Oscar, the right full-back. Here's Dwight York. Paul Scholes, I think it was, collided with Nuno Fresho. Aimed at Veron. That by Erivan, came to Duda. Look was well stationed. This is Veron. Starting to purr again, the Argentine. Sanchez, the Bolivian, it strikes me would have come up against Veron in South American World Cup qualifying, but
there's a facet of Veron's play, you know. He gets around the ball when they lose possession. If he's close, he goes and hustles and hunts. Doesn't necessarily put his foot through people, but he certainly makes it hard sometimes for people to have good possession against him.
Keane. York. Scholes, beautiful ball. Dwight York for Manchester United. Stood up well, the centre-half, Pedro Emanuel. York found no way around him.
I think it's important now as we get towards the half-time, you know, that United don't get too excited by it. They just keep pegging away, keep the discipline, keep the shape. It's the result that matters tonight.
Erivan. So which one it for Duda or indeed for Silvestre? Thrown for Nicky Butt, who's actually played for England since he last played for United. Hasn't kicked a first-team ball until tonight since their rather nasty Sunday at Anfield. Was involved in the England friendly. Here's Keane.
Oh, I thought Roy Keane was going to just wait for Van Nistelrooy to join him up there. Nistelrooy was bursting blood vessels to try and get alongside him.
Scholes. Sylvestre. Paul Scholes. Thought about it. Phil Neville. It's done well to win that from Paolo Turra. Done very well. Phil Neville. Roy Keane. Aimed in towards Potts.
Was unlucky there.
Terrific run, wasn't it?
Unlucky. Good movement into the box, and he's been spotted by Keane. Scholes and Van Nistelrooy dragged the first two defenders away.
Silva going bicep to bicep with Manchester United's captain. It's a big, brawny individual, the Brazilian. 5 feet 10 high and almost as wide. Keane sent him tumbling, and it's Erwin Sanchez with the free kick. Delayed it whilst he invited Paolo Turra forward. Keane's header out. Erivan against Veron, broke for Van Nistelrooy. And now Manchester United can break with Ruud van Nistelrooy, who's got away from Fresho here. And Pedro Emmanuel came across to deny him access to the box.
Yeah, but that's an excellent run from Van Nistelrooy. Not only he's carried the ball 60 yards and taken off a lot of heat.
Veron.
And indirectly his hard work has led to them getting that corner there. And if United could really nick one now just on the stroke of half-time, that'd be magic for them, it'd be massive for them.
Last couple of minutes of an upbeat, up-tempo first half for Manchester United. Veron's corner. Has Barthez made a save?
No, I mean the best effort was the one was it from Petit when he smashed one in the early period. Just looking now, they look as if they've taken a bit of the wind out of the sails of Boavista. They started very aggressively, very assertively, thought they got a real good chance, and they're still not out the game, by the way. But United have worn them down, I think. United have knocked a bit of stuffing out of them.
Sure, of course he did make a very early save, but he hasn't made one for the better part of 40 minutes.
You know, if it stays like this at half-time, I think this sort of performance will have given Alex Ferguson as much pleasure as some of the vintage ones. Because the vintage ones have usually taken place when the players have been bang on song, everybody flowing. Today they've had to work to earn, and at the moment they're earning it.
Sylvestre driving it forward towards York. Erivan away, but wanted it. Pedro Emmanuel turned adroitly, and here's Duda. And Silva. Tackled by Gary Neville, who's limping now. United can't afford to lose another centre-half. Sylvestre. Scholes for Veron. And York. Neat feet from Dwight York. Duda. First half stoppage time. Away from Sylvestre. Petit. Erwin Sanchez. Silva. Laurent Blanc stayed with him.
Nothing wrong in that. Put your foot through the ball when you're in the defensive third.
Offside against Van Nistelrooy. And they wanted to take the free kick inside Manchester United's half, which is clearly a contradiction. Petit. Erivan. by Silva. Alexander Goulart. Barthez was with us. Very good, gritty first half from Manchester United, who have a lead given them by Ruud van Nistelrooy. Much of the labour that went into it came from Phil Neville. Veron played his part, and Van Nistelrooy finished and gave tangible reward to a first half performance which will give much pleasure to the manager. In a moment, Des will show you the best of Liverpool's night in Rome so far, and we'll chew with Ali McCoist over a half which ends here Manchester United 1, Boavista 0.
Manchester United leading Boavista by a goal to nil here before the second half action. Let's hear from Sir Alex Ferguson.
Alex, United working hard and it paid off in that first half.
Yeah, I think we've played well as a team. I think it's been a good team effort, and we just require the discipline now to keep it that way. And you know, there's no need to be doing silly now. It's common sense football.
Thank you.
Common sense football is precisely what it has been. 23 weeks today, the final at Hampden, scripted as the farewell match for the Manchester United manager. 11 weeks today, the resumption of the Champions League. United will be in Nantes. This evening is all about feeling comfortable through the coldest of the winter months, during which time United can repair a few issues that need attending to at home. But the manager indicated little in the way of change there, Ron.
No, I think that's what they've got to do. Start the game again, do the basics again, work hard, set the stall out to dominate and take the heat, or any heat or enthusiasm that Boavista might have, and they'll do that by working hard. They'll get the moments of when they can show their quality, but they've got to earn that right again.
Silvestre holding off Alexander Goulart, who had hold of his shirt. It's a United free kick. Van Nistelrooy poised on the edge of the penalty area. There he is there. Hold off Fresher. Scholes. Silvestre. By Petit. Alexander Goulart being hounded by Butt. Found a way out to Fresher. Petit. Owen Sanchez. Alexander Goulart. And Silva. And Gary Neville somehow got a bit of it.
Well, they had a bit of fortune, the Neville brothers, or the younger of the Neville brothers, for the opening goal, and they've had a bit of fortune there. Thinking back to when Wes Brown and Barthez got involved in that little scuffle against Deportivo. You know, that's the sort of thing that can make or change a game. But certainly they were a little bit short there in defence. That's got to be a little bit of a warning sign to them.
Silva and Alexander Goulart were falling over each other. It was almost, whilst there were only two of them, a case of too many cooks.
I tell you what, there wasn't a yard between the three of them, and the ball fell for the United defender nicely.
York's gone down, and the referee's assistant indicated at once that Paulo Turra should be penalised. Butt. Nicky Butt. No goals for him this season. Indeed, none since his only ever European goal against Sturm Graz in March. By Silvestre, came to Alexander Goulart. He wasn't part of the title-winning side, arrived only this summer from Brazil.
I just wonder here, you see Sylvester is under a little bit of pressure. I wonder where that might be the communication problem, because I thought then that Gary Neville could have just said, my ball, taking it under no pressure. But, you know, I wonder how much that is a problem for them this year, Peter. You know, the 2 or 3 Frenchmen in the back line and 2 lads from Bury. French isn't the second language in Bury, is it?
Not as far as I'm aware. Allez the Shakers. Sanchez and Partido. Jean Pacheco is a lively man, lively manager, animated. Good fun, actually. His press conferences are quite a lark. He was sent off in the recent defeat by Sporting Lisbon, was suspended for the next game and watched it from the press box. Somehow I can't see the Manchester United manager watching anything from the press box. We might have a happier message for the press this evening. From Neville's throw. Pedro Emmanuel thrusting himself at the header. Blanc coming forward for the resultant corner. Durham delivers it. Alexander Golart away. But Scholes cushioning for Keane. And Scholes again. In for York. His first touch took it away from Fresho. Showed it to George Silva, who couldn't keep it from Roy Keane. Scholes. Sylvestre. Quieter opening to the second period.
Yeah, I was going to say it hasn't quite got the same sort of drive and verve that the first half had.
Boavista, in a sense, are the lucky side of the last 16. They qualified for this stage with only 8 points from the first group phase, which isn't generally enough to get a team through. Foul on Van Nistelrooy. And actually the point they got at Anfield was their only away point. Scholes played it for Keane. He just couldn't quite adopt the shape over the shot that he wanted.
Actually, it's not the easiest ball in the world, nice and smart, but when it's running across your body like that, you know, he's got to hit you right down, smack in the right spot.
Sanchez, the scorer against Nantes a fortnight ago. Partido, foul by Scholes.
I don't think you can grumble about this, poor Scholes. I don't like to see players book, but I made the point in the first half, you know. I think the referee has been top draw, absolutely top draw.
And he shows to Paul Scholes his second yellow card of the competition. It takes him to within one of a suspension. Duda. Owen Sanchez. Petit. Nicely worked by George Silva. Aimed in towards Silva, out by Phil Neville. Duda. Alexander Gola.
Just getting a little bit too much attacking play. They were just sort of creeping back into it just before half-time, Boavista, and they've started out this half as if they've got a little bit more positive ideas than United. United aren't quite, they're not zipping about in terms of the energy level as they did in the first half.
It's ball for York to chase. Paulo Turra saw it back. Silvestre away, but Alexander Gollard anyway had clashed with Gary Neville. Himself about a lot, Alexander Gollard.
I think the first year referee might have done him on that. He handballed that one as well.
Neville's free kick for which York is battling. York. But wait for Phil Neville. Struggling against Paulo Turra, possibly against Turra's arm. It barely matters. Free kick, if there had been one, would have been equivalent really to a corner. Veron's corner, and Blanc! Laurent Blanc's first goal at Old Trafford is at the Stretford end, and it takes Manchester United clear.
He's deserved that, Laurent Blanc, because he's not done much wrong tonight. But have a look, I was watching before the kick, before Veron hit the ball. They've left him absolutely nobody marking him. The biggest United player is completely unmarked, and then they've got nobody on the post. I mean, he is good in the air, particularly in the attacking zone, and he doesn't need a second invitation for those. But that's a great goal for United.
A feeling of comfort envelops the ground. This is the way it's sort of meant to feel here. Until tonight, Manchester United had conceded 6 goals since scoring one. Now they're motoring a bit again. Laurent Blanc's second goal in the red of Manchester United, his first on their home ground.
Can you believe the space he's being given on that?
And he would appreciate the delivery which brought about the headed finish. Keane going in hard with Duda. And the suspicion was that there was no ill intent. Certainly Roy Keane will hope that the referee interprets it that way, having been booked in the first half. It was high.
I think there's certain referees that when you see an incident like that, there have been a few hearts in the mouth on the United bench. I think they've got the impression they can trust this fella.
Marcio Santos is going to come on in place of Silva, who, as we told you right at the top of the programme tonight, whose fitness was in question and who had a very late test here at Old Trafford. He hasn't seen out 90 minutes, and he's replaced by another Brazilian who actually played instead of him in the league game at the weekend, missed a couple of early chances, and said that as a result he couldn't get to sleep until 5 o'clock in the morning.
And he was still out.
Beautiful work by Veron for Neville. by Scholes. And by York, chased by Van Nistelrooy. Incidentally, we have no goal news in the second half from France. Nantes are playing Bayern Munich tonight in this group. That were to remain deadlocked and Manchester United do go on to win this game, then things look very tasty indeed from United's point of view as we head into the winter break. Sancho's driving it long. Couldn't keep it in. Duda. Quickly away from Silvestre, drove it at butt. Silvestre's clearance hit Petit. George Silva. Erivan. George Silva. Petit. Alexander Golat. And another change for Boavista, and again it involves a player whose fitness has been a problem recently, George Silva. He's working his way back from a long-term absence, and in his place, Marcelinho, nicknamed the Little Hammer. Midfield player with a very decent crack from long distance. We'll see whether he uses it. There's Owen Sanchez over the top for Marcio Santos. Laurent Blanc across to shut the door.
This must be the best game I think Blanc's had since he's been at United. Coming for a lot of criticism for one reason or another, but today, I mean, that's favouring Marcio Santos, but he's got back, recovered, forced him away from goal, blocked off the shot.
Away from the near post by Gary Neville. Then out to Erivan. But clear, United have 3-on-2 momentarily here. York. Van Nistelrooy is onside! Manchester United. And for Ruud van Nistelrooy, now 6 Champions League goals.
So they were great counter-attacking in. He's held his run brilliantly. York's threaded him. Once again, he's on the shoulder. And I tell you, from there, he's looked up, he's taken a glance, see whether Keane's a better option on the left-hand side. But from there, you know, you never think he's going to miss. He's taken his option, he's decided whether it's better to pass it or whether just to place it in the corner of the net. Goes for the lesser option, or the second option. Beautiful finish.
1 in 4 previous home games against Portuguese opponents. Manchester United have scored 16 goals. You don't have to be Einstein to work out it's 4 a game. There's also the final at Wembley in '68, which keeps up the scoring record.
Looked an absolute top-class finisher there, though, didn't he? All the time in the world, measured his approach. And he timed his run brilliantly. It would have been very easy for him to have run offside when York was in good possession. And full marks to York because there was an easy option on the outside of him with Veron.
He looks a terrific investment now.
We know they're coasting now, things are happening for them, but they've earned this from the performance from the start, where they set about it.
Marcelinho. He gave Silvestre a little shove before a finish that counts for nothing. Came on very early in the home game against Liverpool and against Nantes, Marcelinho. But his relatively late arrival here is unlikely to have an impact on these celebratory folk.
You saw the Liverpool game, didn't you? How does this performance compare at Boavista? How do they compare with the way they performed at Anfield?
Well, to me, Ron, they just don't seem to have been as physical, as bullish, as competitive as they were that night. It's... I'll finish that in just a second. Here's Scholes. Veron. Phil Neville. Keane. And out by Pedro Emmanuel. Of course, that could be down to Manchester United.
Yeah, I think they'll have been a little bit surprised at United's competitive approach. I think they expected to come here and see an edgy, if you like, Manchester United without a definite team shape, looking at the personnel on the bench. But what will have surprised me, why United have got amongst them.
I'm about to say also that the game at Anfield did take place on September the 11th, and no one much felt like a football match that day, which could have had an impact on the whole piece. And Scholes, Keane, Erevan. Petit. Pedro Emmanuel. Petit. Marcelinho. Not doing the shielding. Keane coming away and being tripped by Marcio Santos. Where do Boavista go from here, Ron? What do you do when you're 3-0 down at Old Trafford?
I think it's damage limitation now. I think you would know that. You get the impression they came full of optimism, but that optimism's been knocked out of them. You just sensed it in the middle of the first half. They were starting to lose a bit of belief. They came out and had a flurry after half-time, but those two quick goals of United have put them to bed.
Scholes. Van Nistelrooy. Show for Alexander Gola.
And then, you know, the game might have hinged on two little moments. One, as I say, the little ball that Phil Neville managed to get back to sort the first goal out, which broke his way. And then that other incident when his brother was involved between the two Boavista strikers that on another night might have fell to either striker. Tonight didn't. It fell right in the middle of them and landed at Gary Neville's feet, and he could blatter it clear.
Bronk has been penalised for his collision with Duda.
Well, we've been told about Sanchez, haven't we? Supposed to have a rocket shot. In fact, I think I saw him play in the Portuguese match this season. Really whack one in.
He's got a meaty hit. Erevan, the left back, is the natural left-footed option, which might be favoured from that side of the penalty area. Sanchez. Actually played for Bolivia in the 1994 World Cup. Scored their only goal of that competition against Spain in Chicago. They're not going to be in Japan and South Korea next year. They'll roll down South American group. Blanc's hurt, and Duda is making the most of his absence. Petit. Alexander Gola. To drift it in with the outside of his boot.
Yeah, it could have been an awkward moment for that United 2v1 against the last defender. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to really make it pay. I'm a bit surprised. You see, Blanc's got back in there. Blanc went to ground early on, holding his face. If you're a centre half, your job is to get back in, and if your nose is broken, have it set later.
Sanchez withdrawn, and in his place Pedro Santos. Actually Venezuelan born, but is a Portuguese national. It's his 4th appearance in the competition this year, all as a substitute. But it's Laurent Blanc concerning Manchester United folk just now. He headed the back of Marcio Santos, didn't he? He's spitting blood. Now, news from France affecting both of these clubs from Group A of the Champions League is not nil Bayern Munich 1, and the goal scorer there again is Paulo Sergio. Away wins, of course, count for a lot. That's not so pretty. And of course, these days, no player is allowed to continue whilst there is blood. Sylvestre going back, dealing with it well. Bartes. Kick against Veron. Substitute Pedro Santos. And into Buck. Duda has kept it in play. Keane. And this to one. York as he tried to turn Pedro Emmanuel. The referee was beckoning Blanc back on that. Get to his edge, you don't want to be dragged off. Veron. Offensive header from Alexander Gola, came to Martelinho. He's taken on Sylvestre pace for pace, and the French fullbacks having none of it, stood his ground.
He's quick and he's got a great adrenaline pump today as Sylvestre from the word go. Oh, Nicky, but you do not get caught in possession there.
What was his get out of jail card, as you would say? Gary Van ran into Keane. Neville. Veron. Keane. Neville. In for Van Nistelrooy. And Veron.
Unlucky. Great build-up. Centre forward Van Nistelrooy held the ball perfect and put it back into Veron's path. Panics a lot, doesn't he, Veron? He really does panic on the ball.
He's lovely to watch when he's playing, isn't he? Here's Scholes. A hefty challenge on Van Nistelrooy. If he was happy to let that one go. Gary Neville. Shot by Paulo Torre and at the back of Dwight York. Manchester United might be in the mood to turn on a bit of style for us over the last quarter of an hour, or doesn't the mood permit that?
Well, I think they'll knock it about. The spaces are open now. The game's got well stretched. And I think it's a mark that I don't think Fergie wants to give out the signals to his team, because I thought when Blanc was injured, he might have thought now's the time might be right to put Big John O'Shea in and give him a little run out in Europe. But he's keeping his team, he's keeping the same team as he started with, and I think to a certain extent that's signalling his intent. He doesn't want anybody to get the feeling that it's party time.
Scholes. There's the meat of the sandwich.
Bit lucky there, Paul Scholes. Thought he got caught in possession.
If you are one of those who believes that Manchester United can't be champions of England this season, then you've got to believe that they're still in the running to be champions of Europe.
That's kidology, by the way, that business about we cannot win the league. United are well capable of putting 10 wins back to back.
Pedro Emmanuel, the captain, booked for the shove on Nicky Butt. He's not one of those who was in danger of being suspended, though he is now. Ricardo has Veron in his sights.
He's still hanging on to that post, you know. You thought he'd learnt his lesson from the first half when Veron nearly caught him napping.
Veron. I'm not sure that would have fallen beneath the crossbar of another goal. Tell us what you're thinking, David. Phil Neville. And for my next trick.
He is a good player, isn't he?
Marcelinho took it well. Alexander Gola. Paulo Tour. Erevan. Tackled by Veron. Still Erevan, however. Driven towards Marcelinho. Did a bit in the air. What a deflection, and it spun devilishly, Marcelinho's shot.
Once again, on another day in recent weeks, that might have just come back in a la Shane Warne and gone round Bartes.
Gary Neville's header out. York turning, but outnumbered. Paulo Torres had a go. You heard some noisy crowd reaction. That was because David Beckham is warming up on the touchline, but he is not the man immediately to be introduced in place of Gary Neville. Instead, it is the 20-year-old Irishman John O'Shea, who did play the last 20 minutes in Lille. That was his Champions League debut, after which he played the last 6 minutes at Liverpool for his Premiership debut. Taken away by Fresher. Pedro Santos. Marcio Santos. Pedro Santos. David Beckham is simply keeping warm, or is a part of Alex Ferguson's short-term plan. Only they will know. Paulo Tour and Dwight York have been at each other a fair bit over the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, he stuck to him quite well, actually, Torres. I'm just thinking there, you know, United actually, the 2 goals they've got in this half, I thought they played better in the first half. But you just wonder how Pacheco, the manager, the Boavista coach, will they have a few words to say about the marking on both the second and the third goal? point was completely unmarked for the header. In the second, they allowed Van Nistelrooy to run off.
O'Shea. Blanc. Up against with Van Nistelrooy. On a hat-trick now.
That was touch and go as well, I thought. I thought he spun off the marker quite well there.
Pedro Santos. It's from the bench that Gary Neville's had to put an ice pack on his leg. We saw him hobbling a bit earlier in the game. And, he, of course, had to fill in at centre-half today, and Manchester United could do without him picking up an injury in that position. Imagine Glenn Roeder, if he's watching tonight, wouldn't be so sorry. West Ham are here at the weekend.
If Glenn Roeder's watching tonight, there'll be a problem. They're playing Villa, aren't they?
That's a very good point, Ray. It's Dwight York, once of Aston Villa. Good catch by Ricardo.
It must be a very boring game. And they don't have boring games at Upton Park.
Alexander Gola. Walks nose streaming. Petit. Marcelinho. Pedro Santos. Petit. Pedro Santos. Marcelinho.
Their best chance. That's
Alexander Gola.
Best opportunity I think they've made all night, that. It's the first time they've gone in close in a passing movement. Usually associate Portuguese sides taking the ball in close to goal with a lot of passes. Zipped across him, but at this level you'd be expected to tuck that away.
Cleanly won by Pedro Emmanuel. Scholes, Keane. Pedro Santos. Petit. Aimed at Marcio Santos. He went shoulder to shoulder with Phil Neville.
Actually a very dangerous situation there. The ball turned back into Marcio Santos's path. He'd taken up a good position.
Van Nistelrooy. Veron. Oh, lovely.
Oh, unlucky. Van Nistelrooy did fire it in it, but I don't think there's too many other players could have reacted quite as quickly as Veron did there. Van Nistelrooy pumped the pass in at him a bit lively.
York. Away from Erivan. Veron. Keane. O'Shea took it away from Marcelinho. And tumbling though he was, worked it back for Barthez. Bounced off York. But Keane. Duda. Petit. Garcia Santos. And Martelinho. Fresher. And by Pedro Santos. Boavista probing for the pride of a goal at Old Trafford. Erevan. Martelinho. Silvestri's done well there.
That is the most blatant dive I've seen this season. I think even he knows it. Martelinho.
It's good of him to share the moment with such good humour.
But I don't think anybody associated with United over having seen what's gone over the last few weeks would have anticipated they were going to run out as comfortable, that they'd play the last 5 or 6 minutes in a comfort zone.
Manchester United here with something to spare. But on Pedro Santos. So there is going to be a change here for United. Paul Scholes is going off. And Quinton Fortune will replace him. And Scholes, I note, is disappearing immediately to the dressing room as Fortune goes on, and possibly carrying a groin strain, we understand. Fresho. Martelinho. Alexander Gola. Fortune immediately in the thick of it, in a rather uncomfortable position. He's hit. Premiership on ITV1, 10:30 Saturday evening. Every chance that Glenn Roeder will watch that, because West Ham are on it here at Old Trafford. Find out all about our football coverage on our website, itv.com/football. York's flip. Ricardo going off limits and conceding a corner. And Mr. Roy over the corner. It's not his natural territory. Keane. And Butt. Nicky Butt. Wasn't so very far away.
That's a good effort. Takes half off the ball. Just can't get the thing down quick enough behind the
Another super night for him. Ruud van Nistelrooy, 2 goals, each with the mark of an instinctive finisher. Calmness itself for the second. The man who's put the smile back on Manchester United's collective face. They always send on Solskjaer in a crisis. There he is. No need for any of his heroics this time. Fortune driving it for York. Blanc. Keane. O'Shea. Solskjaer. But, oh, some lovely stuff. And Veron's through the middle and Ricardo has come and got there first. And back by Sylvestre. O'Shea. Fortune. Man of the match then, Ron?
Lad that's just come off, Van Nistelrooy, scored goals at vital times, and they might be two of the most important goals that United scored this season.
Take issue with Ron if you choose on the website itv.com/football.
It'll be some competition tonight. The lad on the ball, the skipper's had a great game. Veron's had a great game. Laurent Blanc
has fed York.
And Laurent Blanc said possibly his best game. I would say definitely his best game for Man U. But I think goals change games and maybe change seasons. And the two he's got to have been massive goals tonight.
Veron. Maybe one more flourish from him. Really influential this evening. Heading past 90 minutes, there will be 3 more. Hello, Tura clear. Top from Blanc. Solskjaer nibbling in. That's his piece of the action. Duda. Alexander Gola. It's feet from him too in front of Veron. He himself would have been pleased with that. Petit. Erivan. Duda's flick. Pedro Santos close down. By O'Shea, who is penalised. The job is done by United. But clean sheets have been sufficiently scarce this year that Fabian Barthez would want to cling on to this one. 5 he's kept in all competitions so far. Petit close to the free kick. And Alexander Gola and Paulo Tura. Petit seems the likelier striker. There's Petit, very well fielded by Barthez, who possibly saw that late and gathered it in very ably.
Yeah, he's aimed for the gap that his own two mates have just vacated, but nice and comfortable at the end for Barthez. I think he's looked a good player tonight, by the way, Petit. I think he's shown a lot of good invention. I think we'll see a bit of him in the European scene for the next few years.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how close was this to the real Manchester United returning?
I think what they've done, they earned the right to play, and I think you'll see big benefits. I think they've learned. There's been a lot of talk about they haven't got the hunger, the desire, and Fergie's obviously said, look, forget the flowery bits, they'll come. Let's go and do the ugly things well. And they did those particularly well in the first half, and it's enabled them to canter the second half.
A positively medicinal win for Manchester United. One of the goals came from a bloodied Laurent Blanc. 2 of them came from Ruud van Nistelrooy. 11 weeks of Champions League hibernation now, time to tidy things up at home. But when United return to Europe in February, they will find themselves healthily placed for a 6th successive crack at the quarter-finals. Sir Alex, big smile. Best moments of Roma Liverpool, plus reaction and analysis here with Des and Ali very soon.